So, I was just reading a little bit about quantum jumping. I saw an ad on Google. I guess it saw that I was into that sort of thing and checked it out and wants to sell me something like most ads will. But it's definitely something I've uh, I've done to a degree or whatever before. Like I've had the thought in my head that well anything is possible, and I am a perspective on infinite possibility. I'm perceiving one part of infinite possibility, constantly driving through infinite possibility. I used to use the metaphor like a bus. Like, I'm on the bus. I had a pin that said that. And, it was like my perspective bus. And I'm driving it. It's like, my thoughts are driving. My thoughts are my path through possibility. You know, like, how I limit infinite possibility by thinking this is how it is or this is how it is what parts I see or whatever. Or I give the driver's seat to my feelings, and then I'm feeling my way through infinite possibilities. Like this feels like this, that feels like that, and whatever the case is. And I guess quantum jumping is a term that they've used for when you decide, well, I'm just gonna go over here. Like I'm sick of this part of infinite possibility. I'm just gonna go over here to where this is not so the way it is. And to the degree that I've been able to accept that that's what's really happening, and then throw in some other factors that I don't understand, I feel like that is what I've done a couple times. Um, but anyways, the reason I started filming this video was because it was talking about particles and people paying attention to particles and like subatomic particles that supposedly compose everything, trying to figure out what the heck is going on here and how everything is working. And when they tried to isolate a single particle and just look at a particle on its own, they really couldn't. This is where quantum physics has come from, is the discovery that particles can exist in multiple places at the same time. That they can exist pretty much everywhere at the same time. And so, this quantum jumping website took a quantum jump in reasoning by saying the only possible explanation for this is that there are infinite possible alternate realities and the particles just go from one to another or another or another. And I wouldn't say that's the only possible explanation. I'd say that's a pretty good estimate, and it's a pretty good way of considering infinite possibility, but it's still within a framework of reasoning, of limitation, of like that there are things to be interacting in a regular way. It's just this mentality that we can like know for sure what we're talking about whenever we're talking about anything that I'm pointing at with this video to say like what's going on there, like first is that we don't know. That's the first. And then everything else is just like, oh, how can we do stuff? What can we mess around with? How can we enjoy ourselves in different ways? But ultimately, we don't know. So we come to something that seems questionable, like, oh, what's going on here? Even if we have a solution that seems like it fits, we should still be able to admit that we don't really know. And this inspired me to point out something that I was thinking about earlier today, which was, if we try to figure out the world around us, we start off, perhaps, with what is most apparent, our own bodies and physical matter and, physical energy and stuff like that, stuff that can be more tangibly observed. And the thing is that like our modern day science, which is purported to be like infallible somehow, even though there's not a scientist in like there's not a self-respecting scientist who isn't getting paid off in the world who will say that science is infallible. You can't find one who isn't either one completely crazy or two getting paid off. Like, if he's crazy or getting paid off, he might say that science proves that it's true. But all scientists who are interested in understanding this reality know that science is like, it raises more questions, really, and it does lead one into more spiritual matters. It really does. Because you get to a point where you find, like, they found that particles are everywhere at once. I mean, then we have to question beyond the material manifestations to what is the root cause of material manifestation. And it's an interesting process for those who are interested in you know figuring out more about the way things seem to be and where they seem to come from and how we can interact with them and have more satisfying lives. But it's pretty much like this. Our modern day physical science is focusing on the symptoms and not paying attention to the cause. Like, what is the cause of this physical world? Where did it come from? Everything physical and tangible. Like, where did that come from? Like, that is a... you just stop there? Like, aren't you interested in that? And there is a lot of stuff written about it. And the numbers 0 through 10, their original meanings are talking about just that. 0 through 3 in particular. Harmony, love now. I like saying that. I love you.